Hi everyone, today we're going to be going over Testament. Now this swanky scythe wielder of Succubi has tons of setup that you can nuance your own game plan with. Now a lot of your player expression can come from how you get to your best scenarios or when you choose to cut it short and catch your opponents trying to call you out on it. Now one of your biggest goals with Testament is going to be trying to get Stain State on them. This is this purple aura that strengthens all aspects of their game. When you connect with an opponent who is stained, it will cause this little pop which extends your combos, your block strings, opens up a ton of doors. Now the primary way you'll be applying this is using quarter circle back punch, which makes your crow fly in a straight horizontal line or to a succubi that you place out, which is another part of that key setup I was talking about. There's some nuance that we'll cover in a later section, but keep in mind that using it raw can still be really good as checking a jumping opponent or a landing one, and recovery permitting is your ideal wall break ender as Stain State will persist into the next stage. Now if a succubi is out on the screen, that's a different story, causing the crow to fly directly from where it is when you activate Unholy Diver directly to the succubi. This is the first layer of Testament's gameplay setup, which is your placement of the succubi done using quarter circle forward slash and heavy slash. Now there are a lot of details about these moves that are not noticeable at a glance, so I'm going to run through them. There are 3 levels of this move: an uncharged version, a mid-charged version, and a fully charged version. Now a really cool little detail is that the longer you hold this down, the more plus it will be, and this directly relates to the frame windows. It goes from being -4, +3 to +10, and each of these windows are 7 frames themselves. When starting out for practice, you can try inputting and releasing immediately to get the early one, hold it down until you see it release to get the tail end of the final charge, and then try and just time it for the middle of that, and you will successfully have gotten all 3 versions. Now the longer the charge is, the longer the skull will last, and these skulls are really important because you cannot input another version of this move if a skull is currently out on the screen. These skulls are great projectiles and will be killed if you send the crow at them, allowing you to throw out another one very soon. Now the air versions of these are really good space controls, but you will not be able to input anything until you land and you have landing recovery, even if you RC up at max jump height, so keep that in mind. It is very committal. Now while the skulls can be killed by some projectiles, the scythe slash itself can destroy those, allowing proper timing to nullify your opponent's projectiles and place a stronger one of yours. This will not be the case for Nago's clone or Renson, so make sure to fully respect those. Now these succubi have another use, which is allowing you to teleport to them with quarter circle back kick. You can feint this teleport to set up some baits by keeping the button held down, but keep in mind that it is counter hittable at the start and the end, even though there's a brief invuln window, so make sure you don't get too predictable with your setups and timings. Now the final specials of Testaments, excluding their supers, are these chomps, quarter circle back, slash, and heavy slash for a low and high hit respectively. Use them really sparingly in neutral if at all, as their tracking is really not that good. They don't go full screen, they don't go right next to you, and even when they pop Stain State, they will leave you at disadvantage. Only really use it in neutral once you've conditioned them to wait and see where you're throwing your succubi out to. In other cases, just use it as a really good wall break ender, as it is pretty good damage. Now their supers are really cool, but before we go over those, you're going to need to know their key normals because they require specific setup in order to use them correctly. Now the immediate key button that will stand out is Testament's far slash. Albeit it's a little bit slower than I think it should be, currently at 13 frames and hopefully gets a slight 2-frame buff, is a very strong poke. Now of course this long range button can be 6P'd, but if the opponent's being overly cocky trying to spam that, just throw out a skull and now your game plan started up. That kind of is consistent with a lot of these long range moves. Now heavy slash is another long range button that pulls Testament's hurtbox in a lot. 2S is a decent poking low with not too much long range, but crouching heavy slash is one of the best combo tools that you'll have, though it is pretty hard to link into if you don't have counter hits, so don't throw it out in neutral too often. Now for your faster kicks and punches, standing kick is going to be more of a combo fodder tool that you'll use with a quick dash into kick to follow things up. Crouching kick, however, is a fantastic low profile tool at 7 frames, so pretty fast and a very good one to link into your crouching dust. But of course, keep in mind with crouching dust that it will not connect at max range, and there is a gap, meaning that it can be backdash, but even worse, reversal super. So if you're fighting Testament, make sure you know that. Now standing punch is a decent option, but it is far outshined by crouching punch, as this is the fastest button, being a good mash tool, and even has some pretty decent conversions. But of course the ultimate anti-air and even grounded button is their 6P, as it is incredibly disjointed. It is great for comboing, neutral. It is everything you'd want from a button like it, except for the one flaw that it will always have a gap no matter what follow-up you choose after. Make sure you have pushed them far enough away before you use it, or else you'll be eating a ton of damage. Now forward heavy slash is another very strong command normal, but I actually recommend not throwing it out too much much in neutral. Despite the fact that it covers a very long distance range, its startup is quite slow and you have a much stronger option in your 6P for contesting people that might be approaching you. Of course, it does have some very good returns on the hit if you were to choose to do it. So as the angel on your shoulder and guide, don't use it in neutral too much outside of comboing, but as the devil on your shoulder, we'll get to some good stuff. Now, as far as your options for challenging the air, jumping punch is the fastest button that Testament has, but it's not too strong. Jumping slash far out classes in range, and you can even get 2 out in a single jump. And jumping heavy slash has great vertical range and is the go-to jump in button for safe jumps, the most common of which you can get off of grab. Just slightly delay before you jump up to do instant air dash into heavy slash and you'll hit them on wake up. Or you can mix up by just doing it immediately and throwing out a move once you've landed. Jump dust can have some decent options if you've just caught them with the jump slash into jump heavy slash into the jump dust, but it usually will send them too low to have a good follow-up. Instead, use this kind of hit angle to place a good skull and prep your set play. Finally, jumping kick has very small range, but hits both slightly in front of Testament and behind them, which means that when you teleport behind someone, since you don't adjust in the air, this might be your best way to land, especially if they have stain state, as then you're safe and can go into normal block strength. Now, without stain state, you're going to be doing a lot of shorter strings. 2K 2D Gravedigger is fantastic, because especially if you mid-charge, it will push the opponent back and then hit them with a skull on their wake up, where you're plus, and you can throw in the bird to catch a jump and prep stain state. Now, it's really important after you prep stain state to not just run in at the opponent, put out another succubus. That way you can trick them into hitting them with the bird again to reapply stain state, as it only lasts for 5 seconds, or use the succubi to teleport and further mix them up. Now, you're probably going to use quarter circle forward slash way more than heavy slash, as it pushes it along the ground on the horizontal and makes it easier for you to hit these crows. This is one of the best things that you can prep after a grab, especially in the corner, as the initial hit OTGs the opponent for the plus skull to hit. After that, throw out the bird, which is +1 on block, and then you have the opponent's back to the wall and the debuff on them. Now, if you've caught the opponent on counter hit and can land this 2H, going into a partially charged quarter circle forward heavy slash is fantastic, as it really pushes them up way more than you'll see this light one does, right? This you can follow up with a really basic ender of dashing forward into standing kick, forward heavy slash, and then a chomp, usually the heavy one. You can always forgo these chomps or a lot of your ending hits to charge a more plus skull. You know, this is where you have a lot of room for your own variants. Now, in the corner, going from close slash into heavy slash into the upwards lowest charge version of that swing will work as well. And Testament does not need too many hits in their combos to break the wall. In the corner, if you're quick enough, you can go from crouching jab into 6P into this lowest charge version of the upward swing and still follow it up with that micro dash into kick and such. If you hit the opponent and their stain state pops, this gives you a lot of time to throw out another fireball to make more placements. And if you get the hit, running in and the fact that they get popped into the air makes it really easy to get a close slash and go into that crouching H, which is the best lead in to the succubus super that we have yet to bring up. Now, this is done with quarter circle twice forward into punch, which summons the succubi out to combo the opponent and it applies stain state. Now, this is not invincible. You can be hit on the startup, but the succubi will not disappear once they have come out. However, it can be jumped over. This is, however, a phenomenal corner carry, as you can dash in to follow up, wait for the opponent to fall a bit, hit them with close slash, they will pop from stain state, and then you can go into close slash, forward heavy slash, and the bite, usually causing a wall break. Now, this is a very tight link that does require the opponent to be popped up to connect, so it's never a bad idea to cash out a simple combo like close slash, crouching slash, heavy slash, with instead doing double quarter circle forward kick, as this is this big chomp that has great horizontal range and a decent cash out of damage. Now, this move is going to be a great transition into some final really great pieces of tech I can impart on you, because this move is incredibly slow as your invincible reversal, like stupidly slow. However, it is possible to do some advanced RC tech to get the invincibility of this move and punish with your normals. Now, the timing of this is incredibly tight, but if you do RC right before the super flash, you can cancel it with PRC to keep the invincibility and go into close slash or whatever follow-up you wish. I brought this up in my Faust guide, which you can check out, and it is much easier on him, but for Testament, they can do it too, and with some good timing and practice, it is a crucial piece of defense, as they don't really have any. Now, I had mentioned that Crow was a little bit tricky, and the reason that is so is because the Crow doesn't always fly from the same height. It actually can fly from lower or higher depending on how it's flying back, or how Testament is moving themselves. This means that when you first send out the Crow and it appears right as it returns, you can, if your timing is quick, send it it out again, and now it will be at a height that it will hit most characters who are standing up, not just the tall ones. I'm sure that in the future there'll be some crazy setups that will come from this, so just for now, keep it in mind, maybe use it to explore, and know that it's a cool option. There's also a really cool combo you can do with this crow if you get a forward heavy slash near the corner. Like, let's say if your opponent's trying to jump out, as you can toss the crow and then mash your slash, and it will come out quick enough to catch them while they're landing so that they get popped up with stain state, allowing you to toss out another skull for a new meaty setup or run in and finish the combo for wall break. Keeping the opponent in the corner is so strong though, as of course we've mentioned the skull lets you meaty, but you can even do some more tricky things once you've tossed out the crow and applied stain state. Now you gotta be fast with this, but close slash into your succubi super will be a true combo if the opponent has stain state, allowing you to lock them down in the corner and then jump, and high-low mix, you know, it's really hard to block this. Don't forget you also always have the option of throwing out an uncharged dust, as this will let you combo off of it, no RC needed. And of course, if you land a full charged one, a very simple route to internalize to start would be heavy slash, slash, jump, then heavy, slash, dust, slash, slash. Whew. Alrighty, let's make something from that, shall we? Testament is a phenomenal mid-ranged character with the unique movement options and ability to make and break strong projectiles. Aim to have a succubi out and a stain-stated opponent, the strongest scenario of course being both of those. Take advantage of the wide array of options that you have from each of those, and don't be afraid to cut that setup short to stuff an opponent's mistimed approach with crazy strong normals, disjointed 6p, and then start an even stronger setup. Capitalize off of any knockdown with meaty skulls and drive the pace of the match. A well-placed succubus will mean your opponent can't cover where you are or could be at once, forcing them to commit or wait to see what you'll do. Use teleports and stain to get unsuspected grabs or slashes and keep the enemy guessing. And if they camp the TP spot, feed them some feathers until they're sick and don't know what to do. This character is so much dang fun, gives me a lot of hope with season 2 on the horizon, so I really hope you liked what you heard today, can apply it to your game, and have a lot of fun with the Guilty Gear. I'll catch you next time. Peace.